Listen, before I start today's topic, I want to put a caveat out there for my faith and, more importantly, my super cool 89-year-old mother who is on social media every day and watches my videos. Now, there is nothing blasphemous or in no way comparison to my Christian faith. Mommy, I hope you got that. Now, but there's something in watchmaking called the Holy Trinity. Now, the Holy Trinity is about three brands that are considered the pinnacle of watchmaking. Now, my question today is why those three brands? And more importantly, is this whole thing of the Holy Trinity still relevant today? It's What Talk with Francis. I'm Francis, and let's get into today's topic. So when we say the Holy Trinity, it's not like it's an official organization or any type thing. No, it's just a term that became popular amongst collectors in the late 20th century. And it is discussing or highlighting, the pinnacle of watchmaking, usually in the traditional Swiss making regions, talking about complications, finishing, design philosophy, heritage, and independence of these brands. Let's just call it like the old masters of Swiss watchmaking. In no particular order, but the first brand I'll highlight from the Trinity is Patek Philippe. Now, Patek Philippe is probably the most prestigious watch brand in the whole world. It was founded in 1839. It is famous for high horology. A Patek watch is a Patek watch. And their key watches are the Nautilus. I know they hate that, but it's one of their key watches, and the Calatrava series. Now, Patek Philippe is not about watches. It's more about legacy. Now, the second watch on this list, like I said, in no particular order, is Audemars Piguet. Now, Audemars Piguet was founded in 1875. They are famous for their bold innovations. Their key watch is the Royal Oak. Now, Audemars Piguet practically changed the game of watchmaking in 1972 with the release of said Royal Oak. I personally believe without the Royal Oak, what we know and love today as luxury sports watch models would not even exist. I'm a fan favorite of Audemars Piguet, maybe because of the collaborations with Jay-Z back in the early 2000s. I don't know, but I'm an AP guy. The last brand on the list is Vacheron Constantin. Vacheron Constantin was founded in 1755. So amongst the three brands in the Holy Trinity, it's the oldest of them. Matter of factly, it is known to be the oldest continuously operating Swiss brand. Now, VC is famous for not just the high complications, but the high finishing of the watches. Their key model is the Overseas. I particularly like the Patrimony. VC is that if you know watch. If you know about watches, then you know Vacheron Constantin. So you would ask me, why these three brands? Now, like I said earlier, they are focusing on a few things about the brands and about watchmaking in general, highlighting the complications, hand finishing, and the heritage of the brands. Now, these three brands have all these things in common, and they have flexed their muscles over time. Patek Philippe have the Grand Complication 6300 GC. Vacheron Constantin have the Solara Ultra Grand Complication, and Audemars Piguet have the Ultra Grand Complication code 1159. Now, these brands keep raising the bar of high horology. Now, I understand the fact that, the most worn of the watches are maybe like a Patek Aquanaut or a Nautilus that it might be time only, an AP Royal Oak that is probably time only, or a Vacheron Constantin. Even when you see a lot of their complications is maybe like a GMT or basic calendar function. Yes, but all these brands have pushed the envelope of what proper watchmaking and craftsmanship could be, which is why they are called and have been grouped together as the Holy Trinity. That said, this is where the debate lies. With all these things that I've said, you would ask yourself, or you would ask me, why are brands like Breguet, my faves, Jaeger-LeCoultre, why are they not part of in consideration for this? I can't answer that. Because when you talk about complications, you can't move further than Breguet. If you talk about heritage as well, when you talk about proper finishing of watches or craftsmanship, you cannot move away from JLC, which is the watchmaker's watchmaker, and have made movements for almost everybody in the watchmaking industry. But I guess it is also a combination of many things that you cannot ignore. Even then, I wasn't alive then, but today you cannot ignore the fact that a Breguet or a Jaeger-LeCoultre is not on the same level as any of the three brands in the Holy Trinity. Now that was then. Now, if we try to throw the dragnet a bit further and move out of the Swiss regions, you would ask, why is A. Lange & Söhne not in the Holy Trinity? I guess that might be because we're talking about Swiss watchmaking here, because definitely to me, heritage, they've got it. Complications, 100%. Finishing, you probably can't even finish a watch better than Lange. So these are the questions. And then again, there's this whole debate on, is this list outdated? Because if we're talking about today in 2026, where do you put Francois Paul Jean in the talk of a Holy Trinity? Are we going to, exclude him from that, or exclude the brand from that because it's not been around since 1755? If that's one of the thresholds before we could, call a brand or give it that high status of Holy Trinity, then yeah, maybe you're right. But if we were to have a modern day Holy Trinity of watch brands, I think it's the battle would be much more fierce. I guess in a nutshell, when you talk of the Holy Trinity of watches, it is not really about the three brands. It is about reaching that height in excellence, that height in watchmaking that can, put you on that pedestal, and not many brands can fit in, which is why it is a trinity. So I'd ask you, if you were to make up your list of a trinity of watch brands today, what brands would you put in that list? I have mine, so let's talk about it in the comments. It was fun talking watches. Stay safe, guys.